The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello and Assalamu alaikum. I am Kashif Kamran and I welcome you to the Strategic Business Leader preparing for exams in September 2019. Now, in this 20 minutes of webinar, I will be discussing some very important aspects of how students should be preparing for Strategic Business Leader exam. Now, in terms of your preparation for Strategic Business Leader exam, there are some frequently asked questions. Number one, how should you prepare for SBL exam? Number two, in these last 2 weeks, what should you be doing? Any specific resources you should be going through, and how to be successful in the exam. The good thing is, since the start of the Strategic Business Leader exam in September 18, the passing rates have been very, very productive. And in just the last exam setting, for the first time, the passing rates have surpassed 50%. So 50% students are passing the Strategic Business Leader exam in the very first attempt. That is very, very encouraging, and that is very, very optimistic for all of you who are going for exams in September 2019. But you should be very much be concerned about the challenges which the Strategic Business Leader paper have. And if you are able to mitigate those challenges productively in the next 2 weeks, obviously you will be successful. Now let's first start with how should you prepare for SBL exam? Okay, let's first understand how you should be preparing yourself for SBL exams. Now, in terms of your preparation for SBL exams, obviously, you must have gone over a textbook at least once, and you have read all the chapters in the textbook thoroughly and must had made your notes. Now, you should had read any of the textbook, either it is the Kaplan textbook or a BPP textbook, because that is very, very essential, because the textbook will give you the depth of the syllabus and will give you the knowledge of the syllabus. If any one of you have attended lectures for SBL, whether through a physical classroom or online, then again that is very much supportive of gaining the knowledge on the subject matter. Now, once you know the syllabus and once you know the depth of the syllabus and once you know the areas which are in the syllabus for Strategic Business Leader, and you have made notes on those areas and you're well prepared on those areas, the most important thing beside having knowledge from the textbook is the application of the knowledge. And remember, without adequate application, the knowledge is useless. So if you have plenty of book knowledge about governance, you have plenty of book knowledge about risk, you have plenty of book knowledge about strategy, you have plenty of book knowledge about leadership, or you have plenty of book knowledge about ethics, but you fail to apply that knowledge in a given context in exam paper, then that's something useless. Now, what you should be doing next after having the knowledge, you should practice plenty of past papers. Now, there are so many specimen exams available on the ACCA website for Strategic Business Leader. You should ideally practice 3 specimen exams, and then you should practice the recent past papers of Strategic Business Leader. You should practice the past paper of September 18, December 18, and then the March, June 19. So 3 specimen exams and 3 actual exams. That is a total of 6. If you practice these 6 papers, with proper writing practice, with proper descriptive practice, you are wonderfully prepared for exams in September. 6 papers, right? If you've done these 6 papers and you know how to control yourself in these 6 papers, you know how to be good in these 6 papers, then you are well prepared for your exams in September 2019. Now, beside the textbook and beside your practice of the past papers, there are so many resources which have been made available by ACCA from time to time, which are available on the Strategic Business Leader resource area on ACCA website, which must be gone through before you enter the exam hall. There are so many webinars, so many short videos, which gives you insights in different areas of the strategic business leader exams. So when you're preparing yourself for SBL exams, be assured you know the knowledge, either from the book, either from the classroom, or either from the online lectures. Second, be assured you have practiced 6 past papers, which includes the 3 specimen exams and the 3 actual exams. And then assure that whatever resources have been put on the SBL designated area on the ACCA website, you have gone through those very specifically. I will be mentioning the specific resources in my question number 3, that any specific resources you should be going through. Now, in the last 2 weeks, what should you be doing? Obviously, in the last 2 weeks, you should not be reading the book. In the last 2 weeks, it's all about the past papers. In the last 2 weeks, it's all about reading the examiner report. In the last 2 weeks, it's all about going through the marking schemes. Because in the last 2 weeks, you are just polishing your application. You're just polishing the way you should apply things to exam context. So in the last 2 weeks, if you're putting time on the book reading, that's a big risk. In the last 2 weeks, you should be in the practice mode. You should be practicing, you should be writing, you should be gaining insights about the marking schemes. You should know the examiner reports. You should know what the examiner expects from you. So a deep analysis of the examiner reports and the marking scheme in the last 2 weeks before your exam can be really, really wonderful. Any specific resources you should be going through? Yes, there are so many specific resources you should be going through. Let's highlight those specific resources you should be going through when you're preparing yourself for the strategic business leader exams in September. Now, when you look at the website, which is a designated website for strategic business leader, on the main website of ACCA, and you come down here and you start looking at the exam resources available, right? Now, when you look at these exam resources available, you can go down and you can see right over here something given here known as webinars. Now, I'll take you into them as well, but these webinars are very, very important because these webinars can really be an eye opener for you, and these webinars can really give you insight knowledge about your preparation towards exams in September 19. Don't ignore these webinars. These are must to go through webinars when you're preparing yourself for September 2019 exams. Then the second most important thing after these webinars, which you should be going through, is the second area here, which is preparing for strategic business leader. You need to click this. You need to go down into this and see how ACCA is advising you that you should be preparing for strategic business leader exam. Then the third thing, you should be going through from these resources. You go down and you see over here that ACCA has given lots of technical articles here. They've given lots of frequently asked questions here and their past exams. These are must, right? These are must, and even the specimen exams. I just recommended you that you need to do 3 specimen exams and 3 past exams, so that in total makes 6. Then you should go through the frequently asked questions, because there might be a certain question which is there in your mind and can be answered from these frequently asked questions. Technical articles are so good. I hope you all must had read the technical articles when you were preparing yourself for the knowledge area of SBL, because technical articles is a better resource in most of the cases over the textbook, because the technical articles have been written by the examining team. They give you deep inside knowledge about how the examiner expects things in SPL. So technical articles is a much better resource if you want to grab the knowledge for your strategic business leader exams, and you should not be omitting any article when you're preparing yourself for the strategic business leader exams in September 2019. Now, these resources, which are available on the SBL designated area on the ACCA website, and you should all be going through it. If you go inside the webinars and you open the page of webinars, you will find that ACCA has published so many webinars on for students. There is the first webinar which says effective preparation for SBL. This is a 1 hour webinar. Then there's another webinar which is upon the skills, how you can be good on skills, communication skills. There is a 1 hour, 1 minute webinar on communication skills. Then there is a webinar on commercial acumen. How can you be good on commercial acumen? There is a 1 hour, 1 minute webinar on that. How can you be good on the skill of evaluation? There is another 1 hour, 1 minute webinar. At least if you keep one webinar a day, you can do them. Listen to one webinar a day. You can build up your skills, the skills of evaluation, the skills of commercial acumen, the skills of communication, the skills of analysis. And then there is the skill of skepticism, which is another 1 hour webinar. Then there is a debrief. There is a debrief of the specimen exam 3. So once you do the specimen exam 3 yourself, listen to the debrief. Listen to the debrief to know where you went wrong. Then there is a revision series, which is a 2 hours webinar. This Dr. Dino series is such a good series. You can see the Dr. Dino series is going on 5 sessions. Session 1, Session 2, Session 3, Session 4, Session 5. You can see this Dr. Dino series here, Session 1 to Session 5, and it's approximately 10 hours. If you can spend time here, you can revise everything. If you want to do a good revision, then this is wonderful. If you want to revise your SPL syllabus, in a short span of time, that is 2 weeks, then you have to sit down and on a daily basis for 5 days, listen to each series. So starting from Saturday, tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you're done with your revisions. So this Dr. Dino series will help you revise everything you have inside SBL, and that can really prepare you. So try to make a plan for yourself, and try to make this plan from Saturday to Tuesday, and try to do this. After Tuesday, then what you can do is you can look at the skills of commercial acumen, the skills of analysis, the skills of evaluation, the skills of skepticism, and the skills of communication. You can spend time on each of the skills, and you can prepare those skills in the next 5 days. So try to plan yourself. There are so much good webinars available by ACCA on their website. Try to spend time on them. At least the Dr. Dino series, and at least the skills which have been given above are the must to watch webinars given by ACCA. So plenty of um, webinars given for student fraternity. See how much you are prepared, and then judge how much webinars you should be watching. But the must webinars are the Dr. Dino series, and then the webinars on the skills, the 5 skills, right? 5 skills means 5 hours, right? So 5 hours, of skills and 10 hours of Dr. Dino revision series. So that's in total 15 hours, which can be really, really good for your exams in September. You miss these 15 hours, you are not ideally prepared for your SBL exams. And if you want to be ideally prepared, then spend 15 hours on these webinars and you will feel a difference. You will feel how better you are for your SBL exams in September. So that's the specific resources, right? You should be going through. And then there is another very specific resource, which is this document available on the website, which really guides you about how you should be approaching the time management. I hope all of you have seen this document published by ACCA, which really tells you about the time management in the exam hall, how you should be utilizing your reading and planning time, and how should you be utilizing your time to answer the paper. You can see the three columns, right? The column on the left tells you the overall time management. Then the column in the center tells you about how you should read and plan in 40 to 60 minutes, and then how you should be writing in the remaining 180 to 200 minutes. So if you can go through this one page summary, which really guides you about how you should be approaching exams in terms of the time management, and within the 40 minutes or 60 minutes what you should be doing, and then within the 180 to 200 minutes what exactly you should be doing, can be really wonderful for you in terms of preparing for your exams, right? Then there is another one page handout published by ACCA, which is right here, which is another very, very important document which really sets tone. If you see this one page handout by ACCA, it tells you in the very first column the syllabus. So you know that there are syllabus which you should be going through. Then in the middle column, it tells you how you can gain your professional skills mark, how you can take the 20% marks in the paper. So that center column is very good, which tells you how you can gain your professional skill marks. Then in the column on the extreme right, you can see that how you should be tackling the exam. And over here, the ACCA team says most frequently used verbs in paper. Most frequently used verbs in paper. Evaluate, discuss, recommend. It says read this article for more about exam verbs. If you click this, read this article. If you click this, automatically an article will open in front of you. And in this article, you can see all the verbs. And the ACCA was telling you that there are three good verbs you should be knowing. The three good verbs you should be knowing was evaluate, discuss, and recommend. You should know the meanings of them. You go to the exam hall and you don't know what is the meaning of the word evaluate, you might not be writing a good answer. You don't know what is the meaning of the word discuss, you will not be writing a good answer. And recommend. So try to go through these good resources, wonderful resources over the next 2 weeks. The Dr. Dino series, the 5 webinars on skills, these 2 pages. One page is how you should be approaching your exam, how should you be utilizing your 2 hours and 40 minutes, and the 240 minutes, sorry, and how you should be gaining the 20% marks in the paper, and how you should be tackling the exam paper. These are two good documents right in front of your screen. And the last one, when you're approaching your exams, you should also know that how you are writing the formats. Now, if you don't know how to write formats, this article by ACCA, which is the importance of effective communication for SBL right in front of your screen, this document really gives you a good list of things. It tells you about how to write a letter, email, and memo, reports, presentation slides and notes, visual aids such as grids or heat maps, briefing notes, briefing papers, and working notes, press release, and a project initiation document. So see, you have resources. And whatever I am highlighting is what you should be doing over the next 14 days. So this document of 9 pages, which tells you about the formats, this document which tells you about how you can gain your professional skills mark, this document which tells you about your overall time management, the Dr. Dino series, and then the 5 webinars on the skills can be really, really productive in the next 2 weeks, along with practice of 6 papers, 3 specimen exams, and 3 actual exams. So that sets plenty of resource, right, which you can utilize, and you still have time. It is still doable. It is still doable. Right, so these resources are wonderful. I'll be sharing with this recorded webinar uh, both the documents I have shown you, a single page document, and even I will be sharing with this the article which is about how you should be writing the formats so that you can effectively prepare yourself for your exams in September 2019. Now, the last thing, any specific resources, I've guided you on those resources, right? How to be successful. If you want to be successful, then first do what I just guided you. The Dr. Dino series, the 5 webinars on skills, going through the 3 documents I just mentioned to you, and finally, the practice. Finally, the practice. Now, with all that, the most important thing in an exam paper, when you're sitting in an exam hall and you are writing your answer. Now, when you're writing in your answer, the very first thing you should annotate is the format. You should know in which format should I be writing the answer. Should I be writing the answer in a letter format, or in a memo format, or in a report format, or in a briefing paper format, whatsoever? Try to annotate that. So know the style of answering. Then know the technical marks. What exactly is the examiner asking me? Is the examiner asking me to evaluate the roles of the non-executive director? Is the examiner asking me the qualities of a chief executive officer? Is the examiner asking me the roles and functions of the risk committee? What exactly is the examiner asking me? What are the technical marks? Try to know the content, because these are 80% marks in the paper. What verbs? Does the examiner wants me to discuss something? Does the examiner wants me to evaluate something? Does the examiner wants me to recommend something? Now, we just saw that the SBL examining team was saying that to recommend something, to evaluate something, and to discuss something are the 3 most common verbs used in SBL exams. So if you know the meaning, then you can really satisfy the examiner. But if you are not clear with the meaning of what evaluate means, what discuss means, or what recommend means, then you might not be giving a complete answer to the examiner. Then skills. Which skills has the examiner asked for? What should be the tone of the answer? Should I be toning my answer in a skill of skepticism? Should I be toning my answer in the skill of commercial acumen? Should I be toning my answer in the skill of analysis? What sort of a tone should I be having? So, if you know the style, if you know the content, if you know the verbs, and if you know the tone, you can write a superb answer. You can write a superb answer in the exam paper. So, if you really want to write a superb answer, when you sit down to practice the 6 papers, first see the format, then see the technical marks, then see the verbs, then see the professional marks. And when you see the technical marks, when you see the technical marks, be assured, be assured of the marking scheme. When you're looking at the technical marks, also be assured of the marking scheme. How much to write? Because at times you might see 10 marks, at times you might see 6 marks. Mostly in an SBL exams, when we see the marks are in double digits, like 10, 12, 14, 16, when the marks are in double digits, right? We divide them by 2. When the marks are like 5, 6, 5, 6, we normally divide them by 1. When the marks are like 8, 9, 8, 9 even, we divide them by 2. So if the marks are 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, even 7, then you can divide them by 1. But if you see marks are like 8, 9, 10 and exceeding, then you can divide them by 2. So you know how much to write. So with the technical marks, you should also know the marking schemes. So the purpose of this brief, quick webinar was just to focus on that how you should be preparing for your SBL exams, which are 2 weeks ahead, and how you should be utilizing these 2 weeks with plenty of good resources available, which can still be done, which is still doable, and you can still prepare yourself better for SBL exams. And then again, when you're answering the question, what sort of things you should be looking for when you're answering the questions, formats, technical marks, verbs, skills, and the marking schemes. And then more importantly, just to give you a glimpse of the SBL designated website and to show you how much resources are available. I will be coming back with yet another webinar on strategic business leader, which will be the part 2 of how you should be preparing for exams in September 19, which will be a more deep inside webinar focusing upon how you should read, how you should plan, how you should write the answers, and some more very specific things you should be doing when you're answering your question. So that second webinar will be more about writing the answer, will be more about reading the case study, will be more about when I'm writing the answer, how should I be writing the answer. This was just the basic webinar, which was more about the first 4 questions, which is right on your screen. But the second webinar in the same series will be more inside how to write an answer. And that will really be an eye opener for you because that will really tell you how you should be good into the strategic business leader exam. So with this webinar, I'll be sharing the documents I have shown you on screen so that when you listen to this webinar, you can also read those documents. But you have to visit the website, click on the webinars and listen to the webinars and try to plan the webinars from Saturday to Tuesday. I wish you best of luck for your exams in September 2019. This is Kashif Kamran, and I'm signing off from the first webinar on how you should be preparing yourself for SBL exams in September 2019.